Imagine a moment when the very fabric of existence is on the verge of unraveling, when the earth, the skies, and the oceans themselves tremble under the weight of impending doom. Imagine an age so ancient, so far beyond memory, that even time itself had barely begun its rhythm. And in that darkest moment, when chaos was rising to swallow all creation, a single act of divine intervention changed everything. A mystery swam up from the cosmic waters, a being who was not just a fish but a god, the first avatar of Lord Vishnu. This is not just a tale. This is the origin of salvation itself. This is the story of Matsya, the divine fish, the cosmic protector who battled the forces of annihilation when the world was nothing but a fragile dream drifting in endless water. And today, we're diving deep into the real, almost forgotten legend that reveals why Matsya was not just the first avatar, but the key to the survival of existence. Long before the great civilizations, before man tamed fire, before mountains had names and rivers had banks, the universe was a silent ocean. It was an age called the Satya Yuga, the first of all epochs. The world was pure, but purity is fragile. Evil, though subtle at first, began to stir. Deep within the hearts of demons, a hunger for power was growing, a hunger so terrible that it threatened to unmake the laws of nature itself. And at the center of it all was a demon named Hayagriva, a being who sought not just conquest, but the total annihilation of divine knowledge. Hayagriva, with his cunning and insatiable greed, stole the sacred Vedas, the very texts that contain the cosmic blueprint of creation, the instructions for how life could exist, how dharma could flow, how reality itself could be held together. Without the Vedas, the universe was destined to fall back into chaos, swallowed by ignorance and darkness. As this cosmic crime was unfolding, a humble king named Satyavrata was engaged in deep penance on the banks of a sacred river. A man of pure heart and unwavering devotion, he had no idea that he was about to become a part of a story that would ripple across eternity. One day, as he was offering water in his palms to the river, a tiny fish appeared in his hands. A normal man would have dismissed it, but something inside Satyavrata told him this was no ordinary creature. The fish spoke. It begged for protection, promising to grow if cared for. The king, filled with compassion, placed the little fish in a jar, but it kept growing, outgrowing the jar, then a tank, then a pond, then a lake, and finally even the mighty ocean could barely contain its size. At last, Matsya revealed his true form to the stunned king. He was Lord Vishnu himself, manifesting as a fish to save the world from the coming destruction. Vishnu, in the form of Matsya, explained the grave threat that loomed. A great deluge was approaching, a cataclysmic flood that would wash away all life. It would be no ordinary rain or storm, but a cosmic reset, a cleansing of all corruption. But all was not lost. Matsya instructed Satyavrata to build a massive ship, to gather the seeds of life, the wisest sages, and the sacred herbs needed to rebuild the world after the waters receded. When the flood came as promised, the earth was swallowed whole by endless waves. Mountains vanished, forests disappeared, cities crumbled into the abyss. But Satyavrata's ship floated, guided by Matsya himself, who appeared again, this time colossal, resplendent, radiant, with a massive golden horn jutting from his head. Satyavrata tied the ship to Matsya's horn with the serpent Vasuki as the divine rope, and thus began the journey through the endless, dark waters of dissolution. But salvation was not yet complete. Deep within those cosmic oceans lurked Hayagriva, still clutching the stolen Vedas. The demon hid in the darkest depths, believing he was beyond the reach of any god. But Matsya was not just any being. He was the force of preservation, the guardian of order itself. Diving deep into the cosmic abyss, Matsya confronted Hayagriva. A battle beyond mortal imagination unfolded. In the churning waters, lit only by flashes of divine light and the burning hatred of the demon, the two forces clashed. Hayagriva was fierce, but he was no match for the incarnation of Vishnu's infinite power. Matsya tore through the shadows, reclaimed the Vedas, and restored the sacred knowledge to the universe. With the Vedas returned, balance was restored. As the waters of destruction began to recede, the earth slowly revealed itself once again. Peaks rose above the waves, forests sprouted anew, and life began its sacred dance once more. Satyavrata, now blessed as Manu, the progenitor of mankind, would go on to lay the foundations for a new age. It was through Matsya's intervention that existence was saved. It was through a simple act of compassion, a king saving a small fish, that destiny itself was rewritten. And it was through Lord Vishnu's divine play that humanity was given another chance. A chance to rebuild, to remember, to live in harmony with the eternal truths encoded in the Vedas. But Matsya's story isn't just a tale of ancient mythology. It's a reminder burning bright across the ages. It teaches that salvation often comes disguised in humble forms, that the smallest act of kindness can ripple outward to save the entire world, that in our darkest, most overwhelming moments, when it feels like everything we know is drowning beneath chaos, divine help often appears, not with thunder and fury, but with the gentle call for trust, for faith, for compassion. Matsya shows us that preservation is not about brute force. It's about patience, wisdom, and the courage to protect even when the flood seems unstoppable. Even today, when we look at the forces tearing at our world, the environmental disasters, the conflicts, the rising ignorance, it feels as though we're once again drifting toward chaos. The Matsya Avatar whispers to us across time, build your ship, protect what is sacred, trust the forces of preservation that still move unseen beneath the surface of our reality, and never underestimate the power of a small act of faith, because sometimes it's in the smallest of things that the greatest salvation is born. What if the next great savior of humanity is already here, but just too small for us to notice? Would you recognize Matsya if he appeared today? Let me know your thoughts below. If you want more ancient stories that still breathe wisdom into today's world, hit that subscribe button. Stay curious and remember, the waters may rise, but faith always floats.